All right. Now, all right. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about PIP. Okay, we're going to be talking about PIP. Now, PIP simply means price interest point. Okay, it simply means price interest point. Now, it is the main unit that we use to measure movements in Forex. It is the unit of measurement that expresses the change in value between two currencies, and it stands for price interest point. Think of PIP like one step, two steps, three steps. That's the same thing for PIP, but in price. All right, but for price. For example, let's say a price moves from 1.2000 to 1.2001. Okay, 1.2000 to 1.2001. Now, if you notice this value change, now you notice that there is a change in the last digits. Now, that single change in the last digits is indicating the tiny bit price movement. Okay, means there is a change in the price, and that's one change in the digits. In the last digit is the pip movement. All right. So the last digit changed by 1, which is 1 pip, 1 PIP. Okay. So when the fourth number after the decimal point changes, that is a pip. The fourth digit is the pip digit. Now, most pairs will go out in 4 decimal places to get a pip, while there are other ones that will go in 3 decimal places to get a pip. Now, for instance, the Japanese yen. These Japanese yen pairs are pairs that are carrying the Japanese yen and not the USD as their code currencies. Okay. Now, the code currency, like we said, the code currency is the currency that is after, right? After, that's the code currency. Now, the Japanese pairs do not actually go out 4 decimal places. Okay, they go out in 2 decimal places if you want to get your PIP. Now, let's talk about why PIP is important, because this is one thing that beginner forex traders have to actually understand. Okay, now PIP can help you measure your profits in trading. It can help you measure your losses. It is what helps you to know if you are going to lose, how much you are going to lose. No, it helps you to know how much you are losing in the market. Okay, so it helps measure your profits in the forex market. It helps you measure your losses in the forex market. It can also help you set up stop loss and take profits. All right, these are things that we will discuss in further videos to come. Stop loss and profits, and taking your profits. Okay, it will tell you how much the market has moved, if the market has gone up in a certain peak movement, if the market has gone down in certain peak movement. Okay, it will tell you if the market has taken 2 steps forward or 2 steps backward, how many steps the market has taken so far. Now, everything in forex uses pips. Okay, everything in forex uses pips. It's like the smallest minute movement that you can see in the forex market, so it actually matters. It's just like in science when they tell you that the smallest that the it's just like in science when they tell you that atom is the smallest particle or something. So this is just how pip works in the forex market. Now, if you don't understand pip, okay, if you don't understand pip in forex trading, you will not be able to calculate your money. So you have to understand how pip actually work if you want to be able to calculate your money in the market. What is a pipette? Now, aside from the word pip, there's another term in forex that most beginner traders, even professionals, have to be very familiar with, which is pipette. Now, if a pip is 1 step, a pipette is like a baby step. Okay, so if a pip is 1 step, a pipette is like a baby step, or let's say half steps or tiny steps. So a pip is usually called a point or fractional pip. A pip is usually called a point or fractional pip. A pipette is 1/10 of a pip in trading. A pipette is 1/10 of a pip in trading. Now, what this means is that 10 pipettes or 10 tiny steps or 10 baby steps will make 1 pip. Okay, so now if you imagine it like what we are saying about an atom, now you see that now 10 baby steps, 10 pipettes, okay, it's going to give you 1 pip. Now let's say for example in the price moves from 1.20000, okay, you can see the zero that is highlighted in yellow. All right, you can see the zero that's highlighted in yellow to 1.20001. This is highlighted in red. Now it's indicating that the price moved from 0 to 1 at the 5th digit after the decimal place. Now this is just trying to tell you that if you see a Euro USD pair and there's a change in the 5th digit of that pair, all right, of that pair's price, that change in that 5th digit is your pipette. Okay, likewise in the pip, there's still going to be a change in the JPY, and we will also talk about that. Now, like I said, the last digit has changed, which is the 5th digit. That is the pipette, and it's moved from 1.20000 to 1.20001, and that is not 1 pip but 1 pipette. The 4th digit is 1 pip, the 4th digit is the pip, while the 5th digit is the pipette. Mind you, this is for pairs carrying the USD as their quote currency. Not all pairs behave this way. All right. Now, why brokers? Now let's talk about some of the reasons brokers use pipettes. They use pipettes to give you accurate prices. All right. Now, pipettes can actually give you more precise price movements in the market. They give you smaller spread. They give you more precise profit and loss calculations, like I said. Now, imagine you are walking, all right? 1 full step is a pip, and 1 small tiny tiptoeing step is a pipette, okay? 1 full step is going to be your pip, and 1 small tiny step is going to be your pipette. Now, let's just say if you take 10 steps or 10 tiny steps, you are going to get 1 big step. If you take 10 tiny steps, you are going to get 1 big step. That is what pipette actually is. So 10 pipettes makes 1 pip. Now, this is how the price move in the forex market. So 10 tiny steps makes 1 pip. Now, here are a few examples. Suppose the current price of Euro USD is 1.10500. Suppose the current price of Euro USD is 1.10500. As an example, if the price then move from 1.10500 to 1.10510, that movement is a movement of 0.00010 movement. Okay, so we're trying to establish something here. Since for most pairs 1 pip is like 0.0001, that move is a 1 pip movement because 0.00010 is equals to 1 times 0.0001. Now all these things will be confusing if you don't actually try to settle down and put it in your head, but it's not actually as complicated as you think. Now pay attention. You are seeing this movement now. This is our decimal place, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see it, 4. This is our 4th digit. Now if you check the new price now, 1, 2, 3, 4, it has moved from 500 to 510. You know, if you are counting your numbers after the decimal place, you don't count them as a whole, you count them individually. I believe that most of us know this. You don't count decimal place like 105, you don't count like that. So you count them individually. So this one here is standing on its own. So this one here is your pip. It's indicating a pip movement of 1. All right. Now, if we go further and say it moves from 1.0500 to 1.10505, all right, 1.0500 to 1.10505. Now that is a 0.00005 movement, and that is 0.5 pip, which is half of a pip, or 5 pipettes. Now 0.5 times 2 times 0.5 times 2 is 1. That's a general mathematics you can just know in your head. 0.5 times 2 is 1, which is 1 pip. But this is 0.5 pip, which means it is 5 pipettes, and 5 pipettes will mean half pip. So 5 pipettes is 0.5 pip. 10 pipettes is 1 pip, because 0.5 times 2 is 1. So now, like we said, okay, let's just go back to all this again. So 0.5 pip is 5 pipettes. 1 pip is 10 pipettes. This is because if you multiply this 0.5 times 2, you are saying 2 0.5, which is going to give you 1 as 1 pip. And you are reminding you the digits are the 5th digit for the pipette and the 4th digit for the pip, for currencies carrying USD as their quote currencies. Now, in pipettes, a move from 1.0500, a move from 1.10500, a move from 1.10500 to 1.10501 is 1 pipette, because many brokers quote it to 5 decimal places. That's just how it works. All right, so the pipette is quoted to 5 decimal places. You have to always know how to count this and how to recognize this whenever you see this anywhere. Now look at some further example. Let's say the price of JPP and USD is 1.30000, okay, and it moves from 1.30000 to 1.30020. Now that change is of that change is a change of 0.00020, which equals 2 pip movements. You can check after the decimal place. I mean, what are your digits? You count 1, you count 2, you count 3, you count 4. All right, 4, that's your pip. The last one is your pipette. Now, because it is 0.00020, you divide it by the standard, which is 0.0001, and it's going to give you 2. All right, it's going to give you 2, which is just the typical 2 pip movement. Now, if it moves to 1.30005, that is a 0.00005 movement. You just take out the rest, convert it, just leave them as 0. Then the last digit, which is the one that you are interested in knowing, which is the pip or the pipette, is going to be your standard. Now, which is 0.5 pips or 5 pipettes. All right, 0.5 pip or 5 pipettes. So the 4th digit is your pip and the 5th digit is your pipette. Now, if you see, if this had moved to 1.30001, that is going to be a 1 pipette movement and not 5 pipette movement. Okay, it's going to be a 1 pipette movement and not 5 pipette movement. Now, if you want to convert this to pip, you are going to be getting a lot of fraction. That's why pipette is known as fractional pip. So 10 pipettes makes 1 pip. Always remember that 10 pipettes makes 1 pip. Now let's do something very important. Now, pairs with Japanese yen, JPY, actually behave slightly more different. Okay, now let's say with Japanese yen, 1 pip is not equivalent to 0.0001, or 1 pip is not equivalent to 0.001. It is 0.01. All right, so, or you can just take it like this: 1 pip in Japanese yen carrying currencies is not expressed to 4 decimal places. It's expressed to 2 decimal places, which means after your decimal, you have to count the digits 1, 2. For USD carrying currencies, you have to count it 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, suppose USD JPY is equivalent to 110.50. Remember, 110.50, 2 decimal places. If the price goes to 110.51, if the price goes to 110.51, that is a move of 0.01, because you are counting the 2 decimal places after your decimal point. all right, which is going to give you your pip. Now it's equals to sorry, we have to go back. uh, um okay. Okay, so now suppose USD JPY is equals to 110.50. If the price moves to 110.51, this is a move of 0.01, all right, which is equals to 1 pip in JPY carrying pairs, which means pip is equivalent to 0.01, as in 2 decimal point places, not 4 decimal point places or 0.0001. So I believe this is clear. Now, if it moves from 110.50 to 110.55, now I want to get the pip in this one. Then you have to go to your decimal point. After your decimal point, you count the first digit 1, then you count the second digit 2, and that is how you get your pip. Now, this is a move of 0.05 pip movement, now which equals to 5 pips. So now you're getting a 5 pip movement individually, because 0.05 divided by the standard, which is 0.01, is going to give you 5. If the broker has fractional pricing pipette, the price might be quoted as 110.505 to 110.506. The smallest change 0.01, this is not 20, this is 01. 0.01 is pipette, which is 1/10. Okay, I don't make mistake. Now look at something. If the broker has fractional pricing, now we're going to be talking about pipette now, all right? If the broker have fractional pricing, which is our pipette, the price might be quoted to as 110.505 to 110.506. Now you can see we're having 3 digits here after the decimal place, no longer 2 digits, because this time around we are going to be checking for pipettes in Japanese pair carrying currencies. All right, now if now that small change, that smallest change, which is 0.001, now is 1 pipette. Okay, it's 1 pipette change. All right, now that is 1/10 of your Japanese of your pip. All right, 1/10 of your pip, which is 0.01. Now you now count by third digits to get your point or pipette. You count by your third digit to get your point or pipette. Now, why are the yin pairs actually different? Now, yin pairs usually have lower value currency. Now, Forex quotes JPY pairs to 2 decimal places for standard pip when it comes to these pairs or these currency pairs. All right. So the step size is bigger in decimal terms, but it is the smallest meaningful step for those pairs.